think Steve Jobs said something interesting. He said the customer's not always right, and they have to be told what they want.
Well, I would agree with that generally, but more specifically, not everyone is your potential customer. And so oftentimes, like, I'll talk to people and I'll go like, you know, like, who are your customers? And maybe their thing only has 700 customers. So it's like, why are you trying to get on the front page of the New York Times? You're going to reach 1 million people to sell 700 units? Like, just call 700 people, right? Like, and don't bother with it. So
Did you guys catch what he just said? And relate that to agents who are spending all this money on marketing and branding and all that. Did you? I mean, did you catch the profundity of that?
I mean, like, look, you have 50 people in this audience. You didn't need to reach 10 million people to fill 50 seats. You needed a community of, you know, probably a couple hundred people to match up schedule-wise with the 50 people that you wanted to see here today.
And wanted to come in to August and into Austin in July.
Yeah, right. Those crazy people.
Yes.
So know who your customers are, know what you're trying to accomplish, and that allows you to weigh impact or weigh feedback properly.
Cool. And who else? Good. Yes, Julie.
First, I wanted to tell you how much we admire your writing and really appreciate what you're doing, you know, for the community, for the world, for everybody in this audience, and for us personally, we've really, you know, enjoyed what you've done, and it's been meaningful to us. My question to you is, after writing so many great books already and having lots of projects going, what still motivates you? You could stop today. How do you deal with you have to have a pull between maybe, I don't necessarily call it complacency, but you could stop now, you're already a fantastic writer, versus, you know, how do you stay motivated at this point?
I don't know if I could stop, like, financially, or like, I don't know if I could. I would probably just go out of my mind, like, if I didn't. Like, part of this is just therapeutic for me, so the process is very enjoyable. But what's wonderful about the profession of writing is that it's never as good on the page as it was in your head. So you're sort of starting from scratch with every project. Like, I have this idea, can I make it real? There's just a sort of just a fascinating challenge in that. So I'm definitely driven by that. And I think it is important to be driven by the challenge of what you're doing. You know, to make a house where there wasn't a house, or to make a business where there wasn't a business, or to make a relationship where there wasn't. If you can enjoy that process, then it doesn't matter if you're really successful or you're struggling, you're still driven by that. I think that's really important. But what I'm trying to think about now, you know, I wrote a lot of books in a short amount of time. Now I'm trying to think about it more sustainably. It's not, I can't physically and mentally, just doesn't, and then also understanding the market, it doesn't make sense for me to write a book a year for the rest of my life. I mean, that would be insane, right? And so now I'm seeing, now the challenge for me is, so I'm working on a sequel to Ego, and I'm thinking, you know, can I do it more slowly? Can I do it, you know, maybe it's, how can I do it better but differently than how I've done it in the past? And that keeps me going as well.
Do you need to be passionate to be successful?
Well, I say in the book that I think passion is a bad thing. And historically, passion was not considered a good thing. I mean, the Stoics talk about the passions, and the passions being sort of lust and greed and excitement and things like that. I tend, like, my sort of flip answer is, like, would you want to hire someone who's passionate or someone who's competent? I would much rather hire a competent person. It's just, I want someone who knows how to do what we're trying to do more than someone who just really likes it.
That's totally in conflict with what most people believe and we're being taught, which, by the way, we agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, look, with the clients that I work with, I tend to find that the passionate ones, they work harder, so that's great, but they end up doing a lot of, like, I dealt with a book recently with someone, and he's very passionate, he asked lots of smart questions, he was very invested, he worked very hard, but he was just sort of like just throwing everything at it all at the same time, and he didn't do the kind of prioritization that he needed. He didn't actually, like, it'd be like, I'm sending this out tomorrow, and I'd be like, whoa, I don't think you should do that, it's a bad idea. He'd be like, it already went out. You know, like, he was just sort of he'd get so excited, and he would he was so rushed about everything that although he worked really hard, he didn't work smart enough, and the book didn't work the way that it could have worked, I think. And so I would, like, doing these things that we do is hard, and I think what you actually want is more sort of discipline and sort of strategic vision and deliberation. Because again, like let's say it's writing a book or being financially independent, there's no shortage of people who are passionate about wanting those things, right? But there is a shortage of people who have got the chops to do it.
Because passion's like a fleeting emotion.
It's a fleeting emotion, and it's not a rare emotion. You know, like lots of people love football. Very few people have the body, have the mind, have the work ethic, have the connections to be able to make it a career, right? And so I think by focusing on passion, you're focusing on the least scarce of all the variables. You know what I mean? I
do. I think that's a great answer. Lovely lady in the back, do you have any other complacency questions? Because that was a good question, by the way.
I think that for many of the people in the room, these guys, it's not their first rodeo.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think we have anybody that was just licensed yesterday. And they get to a certain point in their life. You were talking about the difference between living in New York City and living in Austin, for example. That was a lifestyle decision. It's less expensive. You can have more time. You sound like you're very in control of what happens in your day.
Yeah.
So at some point when these guys have things paid off for the most part, they have a pretty great lifestyle, then the struggle can become continuing to be motivated. And so then the passion conversation comes up. Maybe I've lost some of my passion for it.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where I was driving at.
So we have to repeat her question because we didn't have her on mic.
Sure.
So the essence of it basically was, how do you keep the battle between staying motivated and complacency, and that's something all of us deal with, right?
Yeah.
And so
it's easy when
can't hear you.
It's easy when you have bills to pay and
Yeah.
you know you got to get a down payment for your house. You want to pay your car off.
Fear.
And then all that is done.
Yeah.
And you know that you don't necessarily need that 40-foot jet boat, okay? And you made the decision maybe you're not going to make that a priority, but there's some place in between. Like, how do you settle in on maybe...
Can you tell this is a conversation we have in our marriage?
Yeah. No,
Can you see where this is coming from?
I
this is counseling.
Because I have the same conversations that I think about a lot. So, and to go to your earlier question about me and writing, what I think about is, okay, I want to do this sustainably over a long period of time. Like I like to run. And so in a weird way, like in a competitive race, I guess this also goes to passion, it's not like who starts out the fastest and then just doesn't fall off. It's about discipline. It's about knowing where to put the energy to be able to get all the way to the end and then have a little bit left over at the, you know. And so when I had this sort of great burst of energy, and now I'm thinking, look, I want to continue doing this until, you could keep writing until the day that you die. So I have to conserve some of that energy, and I have to direct it properly. And so I think part of the way you don't become complacent is you don't just continue at the same pace forever. You've got to be able to sort of space out how you want to do this. And so having a bit of a plan for like where you see this going. So again, writing a book a year, you can't do that for 20 years. That's insane. So I have to start spreading them out and thinking about it that way. And so now that I'm not complacent because I'm saying I'm slowing down, but I'm working differently. I'm now going to try to get better in this way. Like slowing down, I have more things to think about than when I was going quickly. That wasn't a concern. So trying to change it up that way, or I'm going to try to do this thing that I've never done before. I think one of the ways you become less complacent is by one, sort of regulating your energy, but then also finding little things to focus on or improve. In the way that a golfer might say, this year I'm working on my short game, or putting is where I could get better. Just picking little things to get better at, and that would be one way to focus on it. And then again, you're not sort of just trying to do everything at the, that's where you get burnout, I think.
I have a quick statement and then a question. So please never get complacent, because you too, Tim and Joy, please don't, because you guys lead and you teach and you give us such great examples. So it's the next generation of not only realtors but citizens. But directly for you, Ryan, your book was so pivotal that I've read it, I've listened to it on tape constantly. And I have 2 boys.
Okay.
And one of my boys was trying to make some money. And I said, okay, if you listen to this book and we have a conversation after every chapter, I will give you $300.
Wow, okay.
I know, right? Good deal. He did not do it.
Okay.
So when I think about your book and I think about your philosophies that are timeless and all of the lessons, and I can't remember the term in the one chapter, was it a docent? Was it an intern?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I think about the next generation coming up with social media and everything that's coming against them, how do we teach and can you address in your next book on ego something that's more specific to as they come up in the world and to keep their egos in check and to really be that intern and learn and support so that they can be great down the road?
I do think that's the big issue right now. It's like when you pull up Instagram or YouTube or whatever, it's all these people who are sort of accidentally successful. Like, I started an account and then I had 1 million followers. That's how you do it. And obviously those are the sort of sexy, fun examples, and but not how it works in real life. Those might be the people you hear about, but you don't. The story of the person who, you know, had their YouTube channel for 8 years before it started working, you know, that's less interesting. And so I think part of what you've got to teach is like like showing how it actually works behind the scenes. I mean, one of the things that I think was hard for me when I was younger is that I didn't know anyone none of my parents' friends were writers, right? None of my parents' friends were successful in any way besides having a job and working hard at that job until they retired, right? But then, because I had some sort of lucky chance encounters and I sent some emails, you know, I started meeting people who did what I do. And that was really helpful to me because then I saw that, oh, it's just a job like any other job, right? Like, it's like, oh, this person, they have an idea, and then they work on that idea every day for a long period of time, and then out the other side comes a book. And so I think showing people how the process actually works is both sort of takes some of the sort of mystique out of it, which is good, but then it also shows them like, oh, these people are just human beings. You know, I would say, like, you know, there's weird stats how like the children of professional athletes are disproportionately represented in professional sports. I think a chunk of that is genetics, but I would argue that a big chunk of it is like my dad was in the NFL, I could be in the NFL, right? Like it loses like the craziness of it. And so I think obviously everyone in this room, your children has an advantage in that like you did it, but also I would try to expose them to other, because you know you don't take your parents as seriously as you should, show them other people who have done this and sort of break down the you know, this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a process, it's a skill, and it's like anything else.
Before our next question, wait for the mic, please. That's my fault. Sorry, Tom. So, smart lady over here. Tom's going to get a workout now.
They have this new thing now. It's like a microphone. It's like a square, and you can throw it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Ventura. Yeah. Add that to the list. That's awesome.
Actually, I want to elaborate on the question that came previously, because that was actually in my mind. And one of the things that I've been thinking about is books like what you're writing are almost now in a different stratosphere from what I find young people are even interested in. They have so many other things coming at them, social media, etc. And the idea of actually sitting down and reading a book, whether it's on a tablet or a book, just demands too much attention or too much focus. What do you see as far as the future for writers like yourself?
Well, in a way, I think that's what makes books so important and so special, is that it's not on a screen, ideally. It's immersive. You know, like you flip through a newspaper, you pore over the pages of a book. I think that sort of quiet, meditative experience is more important than ever right now. Yeah. Okay.
You okay?
Do you see a time where only the elite would be the ones reading these types of books because they're teaching their children to do these things,
Yeah.
for example, and other classes of people that are not in the elite who are not doing these things, their children will eventually fall away from that.
I guess. I mean, the truth is, smart people have always been the only people that read. Do you know what I mean? And sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy. But yeah, I do think that
an author would say that.
As it's been easier to spend, let's say you used to get on a plane and there was nothing to do but read. It was easier to read. So I think that's definitely a problem. And sort of giving kids or employees or whatever space and carving it out and sort of making it a process, I think is a great skill to give them. Although I'm really encouraged by like audiobooks and podcasts right now. It's something you can do while you do something else. I think there are people that are discovering from podcasts and audiobooks that, previously they thought they didn't like books because they don't like reading. But now that what a book is changing and expanding. And maybe those people weren't served by, a 900-page biography of someone before, but they could listen to a 1-hour podcast with the author where they give, enough of the broad strokes of it that now they are willing to try a book. So I think the technology is there's a double-edged sword there. It's good in some ways, it's bad in other ways. But at the end of the day, it's the people that make the time to do it and carve out the space that are going to benefit from it.
If you have a question, raise your hand, wait for the mic. It's interesting. I heard someone recently say that podcasts are bigger, the biggest thing since the Gutenberg press.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I mean, it's now incredible. Like you used to have a studio, and you had to broadcast over the airways for people to hear something, and now you can you can just record on a microphone and blast it out to millions of people. And
it's amazing.
They can listen to it. I, as a professional, people go, how do you read so much? And it's like, well, I get paid to read books. That's my job. Not everyone is so lucky. I don't have a commute, but so I never had that hour of dead time, when I went from here to there in the morning. And so now those people can listen to an audiobook when they're driving or a podcast, and I think that's really exciting.
It is amazing because more people are. That's the magic of podcasts, and you look at it's incredible. I mean, look at what Joe Rogan does, like 5 a week.
Yeah,
and
he 3 or 4 hours. It's crazy.
In 3 or 4 hours, these long form conversations, and you look at how many downloads he gets and how many views he gets on YouTube. It's in a week he's getting more people consuming his information than the best-selling books. It's amazing.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think it's great.
Yeah, that's incredible. Any other questions, guys? Oh, wait for the mic.
He's got it.
Oh, good.
Hi, Ryan. Hi. Other than authors, are there any other artists that you really like or respect or could talk about?
In terms of artists, that's a good question.
I was thinking more directors, actually.
Like a movie director?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm not like a huge movie person, but it is interesting. We live in this. Also with podcasts, there's Netflix and Amazon. There's so much great content being created in all these different mediums. I try not to be a snob about reading is the only way to learn. You could learn something from an episode of Mad Men or Breaking Bad, or you can watch I love the sort of research. We're probably in a golden age right now of documentaries. These are all ways to learn. And I think just people should take advantage of it. I don't have anyone and be like, this person I'm a huge fan of, but I just try to consume as much as I can in as many different areas as I can, and try to learn as much as I can.
Any other questions? We kept Ryan way over.
Yeah, so you mentioned about social media.
Yeah.
Right. Someone like myself who had to really adapt to social media as I'm older. But I got a lot of friends who's young, who taught me how to utilize it. So do you consider someone posting on social media in the morning frequently or, as much as they can as ego, as business, strategic?
Well, clearly I have to use all the platforms in my own career. It's where the audience is. So I think that's part of it, but it's also, I try to, for instance, automate my stuff as much as possible. So I try to check it as rarely as possible. When I do check it, I notice how unhappy it makes me, and that's usually a sign I should not be doing it, right? So I think you've got to know how to play the game. You've got to play it to some advantage, and then, but also, I guess I would be very. I try to monitor and check, like we were talking about Elon Musk. It's like clearly he can't not do it, right? And that's a bad sign. Like that he can't stop himself from fighting with random people on the internet. Given all, that's a really bad sign. And so
maybe that's the reason he developed the automated car, because he must have been the worst, crazy, flicking people off when he was driving. Now he just hits a button. He can.
Well, I mean,
Sorry.
No.
That makes total sense.
I think you're totally right.
We're onto something.
Yeah. Look, if you feel that sort of compulsion or pull, like you have to do it, that's probably a sign there's some ego.
You said something I don't know if Master heard you say. You said you were being introspective about how something was making you feel, and that's a way of keeping the ego in check too. So that little subtle point, I hope you guys picked that up.
Yeah. Like for instance, I deleted all the social media apps from my phone, so I can check them when I'm on my computer, when I'm working, but I'm not, just, oh, did someone tweet about me? Did someone tweet about me? That sort of just dead time is something I try to avoid.
Great. Hey, thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.